Conservation behaviour, what is it? If you're interested in animal behaviour but want to make a key difference in conservation, then stay tuned to this video because this may be the career you've been waiting for.
Lions roaring in the morning sun, searching for a longer day.
If you saw my video a few weeks ago on how to create your own dream job, I'll link it up here or in the description somewhere. You'll remember that I commented that I had kind of 3 career paths that my current kind of job role could have potentially gone down. I wanted this video to really kind of explain the career path that I've chosen at the moment, in the hopes that it might be kind of interesting to you. It might be a career path you could go down, or it might be kind of an area that you've never even heard of. So no matter what job title I have had or currently have, I am an ethologist, and I've explained what that is in a video before. I'll link it up above or down below in the description. And if you followed this channel for a while, you'll know that I've worked in NGOs with elephants for 12 years or so now. And in the last 8 years, that's been directly in conservation. Now, during this time, I've been kind of heavily involved in operations, whether it's kind of rescues or managing the project for a period of time, volunteers. Sometimes I've had to kind of do research sort of on the side, and it's not been like the primary focus. Although, like, thankfully that has changed in recent years. And a lot of the research that I have been involved in is actually kind of feeding into direct management. I'll link a video that's actually on my work channel. It's an old video. It's it's the first kind of YouTube video I ever did, so excuse the quality or whatever, but it kind of explains nicely kind of one of the areas of research and how it's kind of used for management purposes. So check that video out. The importance and the value of research in conservation has really expanded over the last few years, and quite rightly so. But it means that there are quite a lot of broad research needs within conservation NGOs now. And I felt there was kind of danger of kind of veering off my kind of experience or my kind of key interests. So if you can remember my slightly dodgy diagram in my how to create your dream job video, just as a reminder, I kind of felt like I was veering slightly away from this as in my key interests. So it was really up to me to kind of demonstrate. So again, this is kind of referencing what I said in my video, how to create your dream job, is kind of I was really selling why this kind of role, or this kind of moving into this role, is so important, and why it's what's best for the organization, not just me. So this kind of background info on me kind of brings us back to the point of this video, conservation behaviour. And it's a term that's not used often, but it is getting kind of increasing attention. So in its simplest terms, it's using animal behaviour in conservation management. So it's really bringing kind of those 2 areas of interest together, the researching animal behaviour side, the ethology side, and actually having the knowledge of conservation issues and operational challenges. Understanding conservation issues, being involved in management, is bringing those 2 together. So in conservation, boots on the ground, the rangers are always going to be extremely vital, but the ICUN recommends that you have 2 rangers per 50 kilometers squared area. If you take our example in the Kafue National Park, together with its game management areas, so the areas that provide a buffer between the park and the open area, this spans around 66,000 kilometers squared area. So the park itself is bigger than the size of Wales. So in this case, you would need 5,280 rangers to protect that area. Realistically, there's unlikely to ever be that amount of rangers available. So where kind of research and technology can play a role is kind of really helping to kind of boost that power, offset those extreme manpower shortages. So one area of research that I think could really be important here and is really underused is, you guessed it, animal behaviour. So I've mentioned this before in my ethology video, but an animal's behaviour is its first line of defence against a challenging and changing environment. So the viability of populations really depend on how the animals can adjust to these changing and challenging environments. How can they adapt their behaviour? So behavioural responses can really buy time for the species until genetic changes can occur. Behaviour is extremely important to conservation as it serves as kind of a mediator between environmental conditions and anthropogenic disturbances, so poaching, human-elephant conflict. It helps as a mediator between that and the individual's fitness. Behaviour gives populations the evolutionary flexibility to be able to withstand these environmental changes by allowing them to adjust effectively and rapidly. Understanding how behavioural diversity of a population is formed could be key in making kind of the best management plan to be able to preserve it. Despite numerous publications highlighting just how conservation issues can benefit from the knowledge of animal behaviour, conservation practitioners rarely use this in their management plans. For example, population size is often used in management decisions or as success indicators of anti-poaching efforts. Population sizes do not immediately respond to environmental changes because they're time lag dynamics. It takes a while for something to then impact reproductive rates and overall numbers. So it's a lagging metric. As there is time lag dynamics, population density it's kind of a trailing indicator. It doesn't give us an insight about what could happen soon. So for proactive kind of conservation management, indicators are needed to predict the future, not so much just summarizing the past. So indicators of population well-being must be reliable, easy to measure. They must respond quickly to environmental change and be able to forecast future events. So they need to be able to highlight potential detrimental impacts that are going on in the environment that need addressing. So the emphasis is really on the immediate current state and the prospects for the future. So there are a number of behavioural indicators. I'm not going to go into depth in here because it will be an even longer video than it probably already is. But there are lots of kind of behaviours that suggest kind of positive changes or negative changes in an environment. And I think the potential to use them directly into management plans are huge. By using this knowledge effectively, managers can get a really important head start in understanding and assessing potential changes in an animal's environment. So behavioural indicators can be kind of divided into two cases. So they can be indicators pointing to the own animal's state and indicators that suggest the state of the population. So whether that's their own species or even another species. By identifying kind of key behaviours and monitoring them, it's an easier task than monitoring huge populations. We can get an early indication that something in the ecosystem is changing. Specifically, the ability to assess and even predict any human disturbances within the environment. So I'm talking about poaching, human-elephant conflict, even tourism. So by understanding, applying these behavioural indicators, you can really create kind of a novel management technique, I believe at least. So the benefits of applying animal behaviour knowledge to create kind of easy and clear early warning indicators, the benefits are immense for conservation. So my kind of key aim now for my job is to kind of look at where behaviour can make that link to conservation. Where can it feed into kind of proactive management plans for increased conservation success? So this can be done by leveraging kind of existing technology, so GPS collars, drones, camera traps, real-time observations, anywhere that you can get an understanding of behaviour that will kind of signal something in that environment in that time. And there's a lot of kind of exciting ways that I think that you can do that, and you can kind of display that and use it. I really think that behaviour could be used as a kind of a key decision-making tool for planning kind of operations and strategies. Animals are quickly adapting to rapidly changing environments. And by observing this and understanding it and mapping it and using it, we can actually use all that great knowledge that people have collected over many years of elephants and wider animal behaviour to directly use into conservation management plans. This will allow even more data-driven, knowledge-driven decision making. So on the other side of that, behaviour can be used to demonstrate management success and show the outcomes of your management decision, the outcomes and impacts of management decisions that have happened. So obviously I'm often coming at these things from an elephant perspective, but I think that it really does have potential. If something changes in the environment that affects an elephant, it's probably going to affect other species as well. So on the same vein, like any positive management influence in a certain area will benefit not just elephants, but other species as well. And of course, like you could directly target other species by understanding people who have specific knowledge about other species could kind of focus on them, but obviously my interest is elephants. So yeah, this is basically where my career path is going at the moment. It's where I feel that I can add the most value. It's what I'm most interested in, really bridging that gap that I spoke about at the beginning of the video. So yeah, this is, if anyone's interested in learning more about conservation behaviour, then let me know by commenting below and I'll happily make more videos about it. As always, thank you for spending the time with me today. If you have found this interesting, please click on that like button below. Thank you so much. Bye.